Good evening. We'll call the meeting to order. We have a quorum and the media has been notified.
Madam Chair, I'd like to have the floor, please.
Yes.
I'd like to make a motion that we delay the implementation of changes in the policy BCAB until we receive more information. And until we receive more information and are able to consider this matter further, I would like for us to continue with the moment of silence at our regular board meetings.
I'll second that.
Okay, we have a motion and a second. Any discussion? Hearing none, I'll call for a vote. All those in favor of the motion, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
I oppose.
We have one opposed.
7-1, Madam Chair?
Yes, so the motion passes. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the approval of tonight's agenda. Do we have a motion?
So moved and second.
Second.
We have
Madam
a
Chairman.
Thank you. We have a motion and a second to approve tonight's agenda. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
I oppose.
One opposed. The motion passes. Thank you. At this time, we'll rise for the Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. At this time, board members will observe a moment of silence. Thank you. Our next item on the agenda is the approval of minutes for our last regular meeting on August 23rd. Do I have a motion?
You do, Matt. Go ahead, I'll yield.
Madam Chair, I move that we approve the minutes for the regular meeting on August 23rd, 2016.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the minutes. Any discussion? Hearing none. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. The motion passes and our meeting minutes are approved. Our next item on the agenda is our citizens' comment time. And before we ask our first citizen to come forward, I'll read the citizen comment procedures. In order to conduct the meeting in an orderly and efficient manner, we ask that you honor the following guidelines. Stakeholder comments are welcomed and encouraged. However, the board will not take immediate action on public comments at this meeting. Any person wishing to address the board must register prior to the meeting. Comments must be regarding programs, policies, or procedures. Comments regarding complaints against employees other than district-level executives or references to students other than the child of the speaker will not be heard in public session. Groups addressing the same topic should select one speaker. Comments will be limited to 3 minutes per speaker. The board chair reserves the right to allot additional time or halt public comments that do not adhere to the guidelines. So at this time, we have 3 citizens. Our first citizen is Mr. Jim Retz of Somerville.
Good evening.
Good evening.
I have a handout I'd like to pass out to you, if I could. And this will be passed around separately. Each of them can receive that. My name is James Retz, and I'm here tonight representing the Low Country Conservatives in Action and to introduce you to a board game that teaches the Constitution, its history, and the three branches of government. This board game is called Constitutional Quest. As a father and a grandfather, I've played a lot of fun board games. As a 4-year member of the Berkeley County Library Board, I've seen many educational products. And as a 2-year member of the LCCIA, I'm very familiar with the Constitution. I can attest this game is one of the most fun, educational, and factually accurate games I've ever played. My purpose tonight is to convince you to purchase 15 games, one for each of the 9 high schools, and 6 additional ones for the public library, for a total cost of approximately $650. Doing so will allow Berkeley County High School students to play and train, then to compete with the Dorchester County students in an annual Constitution Quest Challenge to be held during Constitution Week 2017. I've spoken with the Berkeley County Board last night, and before the board meeting was over, they had already purchased 7 games from Amazon. They are really gung-ho. They want to compete. They want their students to play this game. I brought the game with me, so I'll stay until the end of the meeting. If any of you'd like to see it, I can set it up and show you. And I wanted to point out, I didn't notice till I got here, but if you accept this, it will match, or it will promote the first 3 goals that you have on the board up here. First being the positive school climate, second being the high student performance, and third being the community engagement. I don't know how many times. Okay, I've got a minute left. The handout that I've given you outlines what the quest will be. The students will study according to the normal school social studies training materials. But the teacher, if this is located in the library, if this game's in the library, the teacher will check it out and play the game in class, then return it to the library, where the students then, on their free time, can go to the library and play and train and prepare for the competition. When the school's closed, either through the summer or after hours, they can go to the public library and play. And we're looking, my group is going to give prizes. And there's 3 levels of competition. One will be the inter-school, so each school will have an individual and a team champion. Then the schools will compete against one another in the county to have a county champion, and then the county champions will compete against Dorchester County and perhaps even Georgetown. I haven't addressed Georgetown yet. But I'd like to get this competition going, get the students prepared so that next year at this time we can have a really highly publicized and exciting and fun time during Constitution Week. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Our next citizen is Mr. Kevin Hedgpeth.
Good evening, Superintendent Blackburn and members of the board. I am a resident of Hanahan, specifically Tanner Plantation. I am also a member of the Hanahan Citizens Committee for the new elementary school, but tonight I'm addressing you as a parent. My son is almost 3. My family and I supported the 2012 Yes for Schools referendum because we felt it was the right thing to do. Not only would it help renovate a large percentage of the existing schools in the district, but it would also help build several new schools, satisfying a huge need. At the last meeting, you heard from Hanahan resident and former DOT engineer Lucas Stoltz. He stated that there have been several recent studies done at the state and federal level on roundabouts, and the results are shocking. Federal studies have shown that a 35% reduction in total crashes, 76% reduction in injury-related crashes, and a 90% reduction in fatal crashes. The state study had comparable results with a 71% reduction in total crashes, 71% reduction in injury crashes, and a 100% reduction in fatal crashes. These numbers are also supported by Berkeley County engineer Tom Lewis. Dr. Murray, at the last meeting, you stated that you rode through the intersection of Foster Creek, Williams Lane, and Sogsboro Way. Why did it take so long for somebody to ride through there? Residents ride through there just about daily. Shouldn't someone have checked that out before asking the City of Hanahan and the Berkeley County Sheriff to provide an officer to direct traffic? We have learned that both have denied the request due to safety considerations of putting an officer in the middle of traffic in a 45-mile-per-hour intersection. You also inquired with Mr. Stoltz about the criteria for lowering the speed limit from 45 to 35 in that particular section of Foster Creek Road. Why was this not pursued prior to asking the city and the county to provide traffic control? On a side note, the City of Hanahan placed its speed limit monitor at this exact intersection the first 3 days of school this year. The monitor also counts cars traveling towards the monitor, and the numbers were sharply different than the numbers the district-sponsored TIA conducted in December of 2014, about 21 months ago. The numbers were almost double the numbers in your TIA, so needless to say, your report is very outdated. We will provide you with this data if you'd like us to. In closing, the district has stated that there is not funding to construct the roundabout in this intersection. I also object to that premise, as the total budget for the school has dropped from $24.6 million at the Bowen site to $22.5 million in the recent update. Where did the $2.1 million in funding go? It is guaranteed based on the results of the 2012 referendum. As a property owner and a taxpayer, I'm very concerned with the disappearance of this $2.1 million. Sure, it is only about 1% of the total referendum money, but based on prior estimates, that would build the roundabout and the egress to North Rhett. So, as a parent, let's do the right thing now for safety's sake, unless any of you want to volunteer to go out and direct traffic in that intersection. Thank you.
Thank you. Our final citizen this evening, Pat Eckstein.
Thank you. The questions that Kevin Hedgpeth asked of Dr. Murray were included in questions that we sent to the entire board and Ms. Blackburn last week. And we want to continue to see if you will answer any of these questions. Most particularly, we're looking at a few things in terms of things that were omitted or withheld, and specifically, Ms. Blackburn, we wanted to know why Dion Jackson and the architect Ben Thompson were directed not to disclose that egress to North Rhett was being cut out of the plan when it was presented to the community on February 2nd, 2016. They didn't want to answer those questions. We wanted to know why they were not allowed to say that the district was rejecting your own engineer's recommendation for the roundabout providing the best level of service and long-term solution on Foster Creek Road. We want to know why you omitted from your March 24th letter to the City of Hanahan that South Carolina DOT also approved the roundabout in addition to the turn lanes with the police officer being utilized as in lieu of a traffic signal. We wanted to know why you omitted that from the April 11th press release as well, only stating that a police officer would be directing traffic at that intersection. And why did you presumptuously announce at the April 11th press release that you would have a law enforcement officer directing traffic there before the City of Hanahan had answered it or before Dr. Murray spoke to the City Council on April 12th? We have continually asked in June, July, August, and we're asking again now that you come back to Hanahan and have a discussion with your community, who overwhelmingly by 60% in Hanahan supported this referendum. Sunshine is healthy. You have answered individual letters, Ms. Blackburn, to residents, but you are not willing to address this with the community. So as we said, we want to debate on appropriate planning, sources of financial partnerships, requests for assistance to other government agencies. Have you done that? Let's discuss the $5.2 million for the 1.7-mile road construction project for the Philip Simmons schools. Let's discuss that the school district was first offered the land on Williams Lane for a school before it was offered to the city, and that the district turned it down. Let's talk about the TIF and the requirements of the TIF. And this area of Hanahan is not a blighted area. And let's have a discussion where we'll listen to your information, you will listen to ours, and you'll hear from the community. That's what we expect. It's imperative you do this before you do the GMP for the Tanner Foster Creek Area Elementary School. Thank you.
Thank you.
Can I say something?
Sure.
I just want to say, the district itself is working hard on getting this school built and doing everything that's right for the community and for those students. And sometimes, as muddied as the facts get, trust us in that we're trying to do the right thing and want to communicate as much as we can to the community when we can and when it's available. Some of the stuff that comes in with the getting the maximum price or the lowest price we can to build that school comes with some negotiation that the school district has to do themselves in order to get the best price so that we can use the taxpayers' money as efficiently as possible. So, I know everybody's been heated about this and stuff. I just rest assured that the school district is doing the right things, and whenever we can communicate as much as we can communicate without giving away our cards on how we're going to build this school and build it, on budget and on time to the new schedule, just asking to be patient so we can work on that. And as soon as we get more information, we can share it with everybody there in the community and to get further input as we move further down the design of the school.
Thank you. All right, our next item on the agenda is under the topic of financial services, and Mr. Jackson is going to present a couple of items for action.
Good evening, Madam Chair, Superintendent Blackburn, members of the board. We have two items. First item up is RFQ 485, IPD contractor for phased renovation of the Berkeley Education Center. During the June 14th board meeting, the board heard a presentation on the Berkeley Education Center and received a recommendation to stabilize the structure to prevent further deterioration. The board voted in favor of the stabilization. An RFQ was submitted in July. The selection committee was reconvened to evaluate the proposals and presentations in August. The proposals were narrowed down to a short list of two firms, and following the presentations, the committee recommended Contract Construction as the IPD contractor for the phased renovation of the Berkeley Education Center. So tonight we're asking for the board's approval to award RFQ 485 to Contract Construction as the IPD contractor for the phased renovation of the Berkeley Education Center.
Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I make a motion that we approve RFQ 485, the integrated product delivery contractor for the phase renovation of the Berkeley Education Center, to Contract Construction as presented by Mr. Jackson, and Finance Agenda Item 3A.
Second.
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve RFQ number 485. Is there any discussion?
Is there any specifics on details, what they're actually going to be doing?
Yes, sir. As you recall, the presentation on July 14th with the stabilization, the exterior the brick will be repointed. We will reseal the envelope to protect the interior from further water intrusion and deterioration, and selective demolition will take place on the inside. It will come with an abatement and removal of lead and asbestos and things of that nature.
Mr. Hayes participated, but I also got to participate in the selection committee. There was a lot of time spent talking about how to repoint that brick properly so that we can preserve our future opportunities for it to possibly be a historic building, which is a big part of grants. And also, during this process, scavenging or being able to retain any doors, hardwood floors, or anything like that. So that historic part of keeping part of the building will be part of the process as well.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
Any other discussion? Okay, so we have a motion and a second to approve Agenda Item 3A. All those in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay.
Nay.
We have one nay. Thank you. The motion carries.
Thank you, ma'am. Next up, we have RFB 474, Structured Cabling and Supplies. This is for network and data cabling and other supplies used by the Office of Technology when installing various IT equipment. The initial term of the contract shall be 1 year with the option to renew for up to 4 additional 1-year renewals. The contract will replace RFB 331, which was issued in 2011, which had reached its 5-year term. We ask that you approve the award of RFB 474 to Gray Bar Electric Company for an initial cost of $139,831.82.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Jackson. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, I move that we approve RFB 474 for the 2015-2016 school year to Gray Bar Electric Company for initial cost of $139,831.82.
A second?
Okay, we have a motion and a second to approve item 3B, RFB number 474. Is there any discussion?
The document shows a August 22nd date. Is that a typo, or has this?
It indicates that the statement of award was effective August 22nd, first paragraph under notice to all bidders. Is that what you're referring to, Ms. Wolf?
Yeah, is that the accurate date? So we can charge this effective the 22nd forward?
Yes, that's when the initial
Approval
notice went out, yes.
Okay.
Any other discussion? Okay, hearing none, then we'll take a vote on this one. All those in favor of item 3B, please respond by saying aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Nay. The motion passes unanimously. Thank you, Mr. Jackson. Our next item on the agenda is our Human Resources update. Dr. Levine.
Good evening, Vice Chair Swaby, Ms. Blackburn, and members of the board. It's always a great opportunity to stand before you and tell you about some great things that are going on in the area of human resources. And I always like to go back to something that was shown, it's over 6 years old, but it's still very significant to me. What was said in 2010 by the Advanced Ed Committee that came to visit us about our great, passionate educators. And I like to keep that in there because it is one of the things that is still true for Berkeley County School District. We have awesome educators here who are very passionate about working with young people, and in the Human Resources Department, we take it very seriously. The people we put in to work with our young people is very significant, and you support us greatly in doing that. Now, this evening, I'm going to go through the information relatively quickly because I know you've had this report now for several days, so I don't want to go line by line with you and a bunch of statistics you will be seeing this evening. So I'm going to go through quickly, and please at the end or during it, if you have any questions, feel free to stop me and let me know. Just wanted you to see where we stand in terms of new hires. Can you tell that we've been very busy this year? 382, and actually based on the number I saw today, we're at 383. So I like to tell it as because we change every single day. There's something new that's happening there. And if you look at where the teachers are coming from, the different areas there, you notice a big shift. Look at experienced South Carolina teachers there, going from 70 to 172 this year. And just remember now, we had several teachers leave for a variety of reasons this year, retirements, just a bunch of different things, and we're always responsible for replacing those individuals, and we had a few new allocations also within those numbers. of the subject areas for the vacancies that existed at the time that we submitted this report to be uploaded. You see that, but we're constantly working on those. And I always want you to be aware that we have long-term substitutes in these classrooms. And then in some cases, principals are really looking at people for next year for the start of 2017. So we don't have our babies, as I put it, who are without teachers right now, who are just waiting and wondering. They're actually with teachers, either through the substitute process or classes that'll be broken down in some cases when we talk about the high school level, when we get to January and we start a second semester. Just some recruitment strategies. You've seen these before, some of the areas and some of the items, things that we worked through during the course of the year. And again, as I said, I have wonderful people who are on the HR team, and we work together to make it happen. Some locations for recruitment, and you see the target areas that are also listed there. There are certain colleges and universities that have more individuals in particular areas, or the particular areas that we target for student teachers, where they come from, and you can see that on the list there as well. Additional information about the location, and we also have some new sites that we're going to be going to this year as well. And we have awesome educators, principals in our district too, who are working with us on the recruitment missions as well, because we know that if you have someone who's already been to that college or university, they basically have a link there, and the students are kind of drawn to them, and that's what we want as we recruit. Just some pictures from the recruitment fair this year. Don't they look lovely? And thank you, those of you who attended that event earlier this year. We had a great time, and if I'm not mistaken, I think we had almost 400 people to attend that recruitment event, so it's pretty big overall. Want you to also look at our numbers as far as our new hire trends there, as far as the information going back to the 2007-2008 school year. And of course, you see the ups and downs that have happened, but wow, this year still, I have to emphasize that number, 382. And then teacher composition also by gender. I hope you can see that as you look at the very end there. We have 84% females and 16% males. Also wanted you to know something else, that when we look at our totals overall, we have approximately 14% minority and other teachers who were hired in the new group for this year. So 14%, and then the remaining percentage, of course, would be of the majority group. Of some support services. Always want you to know what's going on in the Office of Leadership Development and Evaluation, and they'll be standing shortly. Just look at the items there that happen throughout the course of the year, and I'll tell you what, they just keep on going. And we appreciate you also, board members, for giving us an additional mentor supporter this year, who actually goes out to the schools and provides additional assistance for our Pride teachers, our new teachers. And this is from our new teacher orientation that took place at the very beginning of the school year. They were so enthusiastic, and they were having so much fun there. And these sessions are actually optional at the beginning of the school year, but if you look, you can tell, I know just from that view of it, that we had a full house there, and it was wonderful. And there is some work that they were doing there. Again, I attribute it all to our evaluators, to that particular office. They worked very hard for our students and for everyone. I want you to also look at the updates in terms of the individuals going through the different types of evaluation or assistance. And you can see that over the course of years from 13-14 to 16-17. And again, there you see an increase as far as the trend is concerned in terms of the type of assistance provided. So they are working hard, and you can always depend on them. Here's the tally there for formal evaluations this year, 212 going through that process. For Pride, 145, and coaching diagnostic assistance assignments, 35 for this year. So remember now, we're about really retaining our teachers. So it's not just about attracting and getting them here. We want them to stay, so we're going to provide the assistance that they need throughout the year. Also, they provide the other workshops, and also doing some things for our principals and assistant principals as well. Now, I want you to see some information about the numbers as far as our staff for the entire district, and we pulled this directly from Smart Fusion, so that's our system that would keep record of this information, and you see our total there for administrators, teachers, support staff, 3642. And then also district-level full-time employees, and make sure you make a note of this as far as all the professionals. You see the asterisk there by support staff, maintenance, special ed, technology, Head Start, clerical, and custodian, because it's just deceptive to look at it and think, oh, we have all of these people at the district. No, these are areas that are spread out within the district that we can't attribute just to a school location. And then you see the total there, 4217. And remember, on top of this number, we also have numerous temporary employees who work with us for maybe a couple of hours here and there in various areas as well. And the last slide that you have in your pack is for the Emergency Catastrophic Leave Program. And some of you may say, well, where does this fit into everything? Well, it's part of board policy that we let you know every year how many days were given in the program, and it's an awesome program that allows our teachers, staff members who have to go out for whatever reason, some emergency catastrophic event, they can actually request days from a bank to end up getting those days if it's approved by the committee, and we have a policy. So per that policy, we have to share with you the information in terms of how many days were donated, how many requests were received, and you can see the information there in terms of the numbers that have increased over the years with that. Now, at this time, I would like to, before we get to the questions, I would like for the HR team to please stand. First, the evaluators, all of the Office of Evaluations. Where's Dr. McLaren? She leads that along with Margaret Tabor there, and the rest of our staff members. Please give them a hand. They are in the little house, is what we call it, across the way, and I just can't say. Now, if you see them start looking kind of strange in about November or December, just know that their eyes are crossing because of all the typing. And let me tell you, if there is ever a school district that does it right, Berkeley County School District does it right when it comes to evaluation and supporting also. And those individuals who you just saw stand, I mean, they are absolutely wonderful. Can you tell this frog is praising her own pond? Can you tell? Okay, that's what I do. And also in the Human Resources Department, I would like to also acknowledge some other individuals. Ms. Rogers, would you please stand? Because she is the one who did 382 phone calls offering positions. And also our newest addition to the office is here, Sharon Snyder. She's doing staff development for everybody, not just certified, but for classified as well. Now I have to ask for the other members of my HR family, please stand. My other members, there we go. Now Karen is with us temporarily, but we tell people once you get in the family, you can't get out. So Karen is with us, she's worked with us. Talita, fabulous job with insurance. And Shelley Green, at the back there, our certified coordinator. Shelley Green is the one who talks to all of the certified teachers who are coming to the district. And let me tell you, some of them say, oh, Shelley, we're coming because of her, because she's the one, she talked to us at this, and we got it, and she's a talker, and she's awesome. She's a talker. Now, let me make sure that I did not miss any of my family. Did I miss any family member? All right, then. But I just want you to know it's never the Glenda Levine show, ever. We have tremendous support, and we're working on some things right now. It's always a challenge for us, but we really do believe that what we do is extremely significant, because putting the best people around our kids in all areas, classified and certified, is what it's all about for us. And when we thank you for having the opportunity to do that, and board members, we thank you for your support throughout the years and all the things you have done to help us attract, recruit, and retain. Thank you. So do you have any questions for me?
I have a few.
You have one?
Yes, ma'am.
Do other school districts do the leave donation thing the way Berkeley County does, where teachers contribute to that bank?
we have heard that there are some districts that that do this. That policy was actually modified, I think, about 2010, because it used to be called a true sick leave bank back in the day, and then there came along there's a need for greater definitions: emergency, catastrophic. So I can't say that they do it the same way that we do it, but there are some who have it, there are some who totally don't, which means that if teachers or faculty or staff members throughout the district run into some type of emergency, catastrophic leave situation for which they can't work, in some cases they are just basically out of luck if they don't have the days to support it. But in Berkeley County, they can get up to 90 days, and again, it has to be approved by the committee in order for the days to be granted.
I just wanted to make sure that people understand that that's a homegrown
It's a plus.
idea here.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
And a retention tool.
Yes.
Vacancies in middle and secondary, do you happen to know, I don't mean to put you on the spot, what content areas those might be?
We have various, right now I know we have math, science, we have the special ed ones, and there are some that we had as a result, the special ed as a result of moves because things changed from the end of last school year, so there had to be some movement in those areas. But there are the areas in which we typically anticipate, when you hear the math, when you hear the science, when you hear the middle level also, I don't think I said that earlier, but the middle level. So those are some of the key areas that we're always looking for. But I would always tell you again that you all always help us, because there are some of you who have directed people to us, and you've done a good job of helping us to recruit, because recruitment is just not HR, it's the entire school district doing that.
So our public needs to know that math, science, special ed are in shortage all over the nation.
Yes.
And we're feeling it too, and so we need help.
Definitely.
Recruiting these young people. Your gender percentage, that's always startling to people when they see it. But that's in line with the state of South Carolina.
In line with the state of South Carolina, aligned with the nation, so to speak. Because I've heard statistics, and I know you've heard statistics, as well, about the number of individuals going into the education field nowadays. And what we're actually experiencing is the need for double the number of students who are coming out of college. And I don't have the number in front of me right now, but one of the most recent ones that I observed was about 2,000 students coming out of the education programs at colleges in the state, and the need actually being across the state, all districts, about 4,000. Yes, so that's why we rely on teachers coming from out of state in order to fill those positions as well.
My last thing, not all of our high schools have Teacher Cadet, and that's a state program, right? It's not funded adequately, it never was. But we know that about 40% of those high school juniors and seniors end up in South Carolina classrooms, or that's the latest figure I remember seeing. I've spoken with Ms. Blackburn about this too. When we think of career academies, and I gave her the example of going to some of these recruitment fairs where my little teacher table was between the real estate agents and the mortician.
Now that's a placement.
I thought it was strange, but I went with it. We have to recruit our young people, and we have to recruit our young men. And when we have Teacher Cadet in our high schools, teaching fellows applications get out more effectively. Our students learn about the Call Me Mr. program and some wonderful tools that are South Carolina. They are part of our Growing Our Own initiative. And so I would love to see this board and others support Sarah and the Teacher Cadet program, because oftentimes students are getting misinformation about education. And if nothing else, it produces more effective parents, maybe students who would someday serve on a school board, or just be a public school advocate because they've been in that course. and so I'll get off my soapbox. But I also want to thank all of you. I get to interact, I'm very fortunate that I get to interact in my day job with a lot of these professionals, and I am always so proud when Berkeley comes in the room, because there's clearly a difference. And I have to be careful when I say this because I do work with other districts. There is a difference in how our applicants and our new teachers are treated. And that says a lot about how they are not going to leave a T uncrossed or I undotted. And I appreciate that. And I'm so glad you were all here and stayed late, because I know you're busy, so that I could say that publicly.
Definitely. Well, thank you. And we are working with the teacher cadet programs, and actually Shelley and Julie go out to visit the programs and actually talk to the students at the different schools. And we're working on, I know you said there was a school or couple that don't have the programs, and we're working on that right now. And something else I want to also add is that we're also working on a program to start at the middle school level called Pro Team. It exists in other places, so we're actually trying to not wait until they get to high school to try to do that recruitment piece, but to also tap into the middle schools as well.
Charlotte Groves was a protein instructor here in Berkeley County, too. Okay,
Yes.
never mind.
There you go.
I'll quit. Are you guys tired of that?
That's
Well,
okay.
you said you got on the topic that I was going to get on, and that was the teacher cadet program.
Yes, sir.
And I'm glad to see that you're working on that and that you're moving down to the middle school level. I do want to know how many schools we do actually have the program in. I think we
I'm
need
to be
have
told
that.
6 now,
We have
6 high schools, yes, sir.
We need to have that in all of our high schools, really. But I'm proud to hear what I'm hearing. That's one thing I'm pushing real hard.
Yes.
Any other comments? Thank you, Dr. Levine.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate it. I'll just give it to you.
Okay, our next item on the agenda is our superintendent's report.
Thank you very much. I'd certainly like to add my compliments to those that Glenda just shared about her department. While others are finding an opportunity to take a vacation, they're processing those 383 now new employees and getting them set up for payroll and health benefits and school assignments and everything else. And so add to that the significant number of support staff. And I'm not sure our HR folks took a day off this summer, or very few anyway. So thank you. We really appreciate it. We couldn't do it without you. Second thing I have today, as you all know, we've already lost a day of school to inclement weather a little bit early in the season. So it's necessary for us to make up that day, and based on the board's adopted calendar for school year 2016-2017, the first designated inclement weather day for makeup is Monday, October 17th. And the day is scheduled currently as a teacher work day. Based on the adopted calendar, I plan to inform our schools and community that the day, October 17th, will be a regular student attendance day. This does not require board approval, as the day is already designated in your board-adopted calendar.
Okay. Mr. Hayes sent me a list for his report, and so I'll go down the list. First of all, we want to thank Sheriff Dwayne Lewis and his staff for supporting the new law enforcement academy at Cane Bay High School. Over 100 students are participating in this new educational opportunity, and we're very, very appreciative for that. We also want you to mark your calendars for the School Board Association annual business meeting on December 3rd at Hilton Head. We will need to identify delegates for that conference by November 11th, and so you'll hear more about that. At your seats, you all have a notebook, and in that notebook, you will see a lot of information that is related to the district and goals and the evaluation process for Ms. Blackburn. If you get into the notebook and have any questions about what's included, please direct those questions to either Jim or Ms. Blackburn. Related to that is a special update that will be provided by Ms. Blackburn and her cabinet. And this was mentioned at the last meeting, but we need to nail down a time for that workshop. Mr. Hayes wants to recommend October 11th, which is the first regular meeting in October. And having the workshop, they're going to need an hour and a half, starting at 4:30, running until 6, breaking for dinner, and then regular meeting at 6:30. So if you have questions or you want to weigh in, if that's possible. Okay, we're good? All right, that's it. Okay, our next item on the agenda then is to move into executive session where we will hear attendance appeals, one expulsion appeal, pending employment matters to include appointment of administrator. Do we have a motion?
Madam Chair, the agenda only shows the discussion of the pending employment matter for the first executive session. So I make a motion that we enter into executive session for the discussion of a pending employment matter to include the appointment of an administrator.
Second.
Is that correct?
Yes, two separate.
That is correct.
We'll come
Yes,
back.
we'll
We'll
come
go
back.
back. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. All righty. I should have been paying more attention. Thank you, Ms. Wofford. So we have a motion and a second. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, nay. Thank you. The motion passes. We will move into executive session.